So I will go directly to the research. I will focus not in the outcomes of my artistic work, but mainly in the process, and then in the outcomes of the research I have been developing for 4 years now. So my project is called Amaranth as Political Agent, and it takes place in Argentina. The fieldwork takes place there, and it's about the implementation of transgenic model, of the model of transgenic agriculture in Latin America. So Argentina was the first country in Latin America and the second country worldwide to release transgenic beans. This means in 1996, it was approved for commercialization the first genetically modified crop called Roundup Ready soybeans from Monsanto, today Bayer. These seeds were manipulated to be resistant to glyphosate and to be able to produce huge, big scale of monoculture fields. To be able to do that, they use per year, still today, 600 million liters of agrotoxins in these monoculture territories. Half of them is glyphosate. In my research, this model is understood as a continuation of the terricide that started with the conquest of the Americas, that consolidates the condition of the Americas as an exporter of nature that was initiated in 1492. To develop the research, I have a great vegetal companion, and it's amaranth. Amaranth is a plant that native of the Americas. It was prohibited after the colonization for two reasons. One is because it was the main food for indigenous armies, and the second is because it was used in ceremonies. And today is the most spread glyphosate-resistant wheat. Transgenic agriculture promised in 1996 that there will not be weeds growing because of glyphosate. This herbicide, it was developed to kill every life on the soil and outside the soil to make sick or kill every bean, and I mean maybe not only vegetable bean, but all beans that are around, but not this genetically modified crop that was developed in the laboratories to be resistant to it. But already in 1996, there started to be wheat that were resistant to glyphosate. And today there are 28, 48 biotypes of 28 wild plants that can resist the effect of glyphosate and most of the agrochemicals used in transgenic agriculture. Amaranth is one of them and the most problematic for transgenic agriculture. It covers 25 million hectares of monoculture fields. And it's only resistant to glyphosate, but all of the pesticides used in transgenic agriculture. Transgenic agriculture claims and still promise that it's fighting against hunger, but they produce not food, but commodities, export commodities. To grow these commodities, they kill actually plants that could be nutritional food. These wild plants that you see growing between the genetically modified soil in this picture. So as Raza say, this is my PhD research, so I will first share the methods I was implementing to get to know my vegetal companion. One of them was conversations. There are interviews that I did a lot, and there are always audio interviews. I never use a video camera, and they can take half an hour of the whole day. It depends on the people I'm relating with and talking with, how this person wants to share their knowledge or experience in relation to amaranth. And I do this, I have this conversation with two groups of people. The first one is people dealing with amaranth as a crop or as a wild plant. These are activists, environmental activists, farmers, agroecologists, critical scientists, or philosophers like Noelia Billy, who this is how I met her a few years ago. And the second group are people who deal with amaranth as a resistant weed. So the ones who try to kill it every day, and the ones who know this plant better than anyone else. And these are agro-producers, or monoculture agro-producers, scientists, weed specialists, and associations that were like APRESI, No-Till Farmers Association in this case. All these interviews are transcribed, and they are the base for my artistic work and for my dissertation. And a way that I have also to process all this information and also my relation to the plant during field work and also growing the plant myself later on are chronicles that are for me written, feeling, thinking, reflection, where I process all this knowledge and that are part of our website. Another method is my own cultivation of amaranth. So during the first field work, I got as a present many seeds. On one hand, from people growing amaranth and preserving the seeds, and also from plants that I collect myself in monoculture fields, so amaranth plants, that I took in order to be able to grow these seeds close to me later on. And I did this, I do this, what I call Familia de Amaranthos, this small-scale cultivation with the support again from two people belonging to two opposite worldviews, an agroecologist, Florencia Cecchini, and a biologist, Anna Schneider, who is researching the strategies of amaranth as a resistant weed. As a resistant weed. So I grow this in the street where I live in Berlin, and I plant both together, the crop amaranth and the amaranth growing as a weed in GM crop fields. And because amaranth, what needs is a lot of sun, they grow super big, like more than 2.5 meters. And let me see what I'm forgetting. So and after the season ends, amaranth is an annual plant, so like you need to plant it in spring when the sun starts to be strong, and then in winter will die. But after, in few months, I will take them again from the soil, and I will bring them to the studio as I do every year, and then I will be for a few weeks surrounded by the strong smell in my studio, as you can see, and slowly they will start to dry. And these dry plants, you could think, okay, they are dead, but actually they are full of life because all the seeds are in the plants. And one year after the other, what I am experiencing is like, because amaranth has so many soils, even if I take out the plants from the ground, many seeds will be on the floor anyway, and they will start growing on the next season when I start watering this soil again and when I start taking care of them again. And another method that you saw in the exhibition, but I also think about this as a learning method, not only as an outcome, are these drawings. When I started the project, I decided that I wanted to get to know my vegetal companion without the use of any technological device. I really wanted to see if I could recover a little bit, at least, of the perceptivity that we as humans once have, and many farmers and indigenous people still have, how to observe plants, how to learn from them, how to relate to them. And so the way as an artist that I had closer was to just draw, because drawing will force me to stop and slow down and improve my perceptivity to this wise plant. So I started to develop this on the first field trip in 2023. But what happened is during fieldwork, I had to be fast because I cannot be 3 days in the same feel drawing the same plant. So it really changed everything when I started to grow amaranth myself, and I could follow the growing process every day and the same plant every day as well. And then I could also observe what scientists, agroecologists were telling me about this plant and what these people who are the ones who knows the most, these weed specialists, describe as strategies of survival of the plant. I will observe the transformation of color that is permanent and how the plant develop also resilience as a way of color transformation. So after talking about the methods, the research focus is like the intelligence and political agency of this plant. And I follow two paths. One is what I call Kiwicha, historical resilience. Kiwicha is the name in an indigenous language, Quechua, for amaranth. And this part of my fieldwork takes place in the very north part of Argentina, in the border with Bolivia, in a province called Jujuy, and there is growing one wild amaranth variety, which they call aroma or ataco. Aroma means smell, and it's this dark one. It's a different variety than the one growing in the GM crop fields. And I developed this research, or this part of my research, with two institutions. One is Cauqueva, a cooperative, a farmers cooperative that I know since 2010. And thanks to this reciprocity that I was able to build over the years, they were really supportive. They are really supportive with my research and my work. It's like the people that you see like on the right. And the other one is a research institution working with family farming, and from them I got a lot of seeds also from both institutions. They grow amaranth as an agroecological way, but they have a lot of knowledge also about the meaning of these plants in this region. And something I forgot to say is almost nobody grow amaranth in Argentina. It was super hard to find somebody who grow amaranth, but the plant is growing through the whole country as a weed. So this is one of the few farmers I met that is growing amaranth this way. And what I found, thanks to Javier Rodriguez, an agronomist, part of Cauqueva, was that during Easter, there is a really important celebration in Jujuy, and where the people go up to the mountain and then down they go up where the Virgin is, on the top of the mountain that is they call Apus as a sacred mountain, and then go down playing really strong and beautiful music with sicuris, that are these instruments that you see here. And all the way of this procession is decorated with plants and flowers, and amaranth is one of them. It's this dark one that you see on the pictures. Another way that amaranth is part of this Catholic celebration is these images that you see here. They are called ermitas, and they are made by different families in Tilcara that are responsible of this tradition over generations. So they meet all together, all members come even from different parts of the country to have this collective labor for 1 or 2 days, depending on the family. And I was allowed to follow the process and also to work with them. And after long time of drawing amaranth, I was able to draw with the plant myself. And what I found super important of this, of the presence of amaranth in this celebration, is that amaranth managed to be part of the same religion that prohibited after the conquest. And what you see here with these dark points are the seeds. As you can see, they move and they spread everywhere. The other focus of my research, I call it Colorado biological resilience. Colorado or Chucho Colorado is the name given to amaranth as a resistant weed in the frame of transgenic agriculture. What you see here growing like super big is Amaranthus palmeri. So Noelia yesterday was talking about how the agricultural frontier was expanding, how transgenic agriculture was expanding in the continent, in the country, in the continent as well anyway. And the transgenic agriculture was expanded, and the plants, the resistance we needed to adapt to be able to survive, but transgenic agriculture also needed to adapt to them, because they still are all the time trying to adapt to their resilience, and they're never successful. What you see in this map is how amaranth is expanding. And this map is created by one of these monoculture farmers association, APRESID. One of my main collaborators to develop this research is the University of Litoral, and two scientists, Ignacio de la Ferrera and Anna Schneider, the one helping me to grow amaranth in Berlin. How this process works is quite interesting for me. This is a public university. So the researchers are PhD candidates, but also bachelor students. And they work together with APRESID, with this No-Till Farmer Association. This means a farmer we call APRESID and say, hey, I found an amaranth plant growing in my soy field. The university will collect this plant because APRESID told them, and they will research the resilience of this seed. They will plant it in the greenhouses, they will catalog them, make the number of the biotype that is resistant to this pesticide or this other one, and we grow them and apply pesticides in this structure that they created, and they put the pesticide in this green bottle that you see here. And the students, the bachelor students, apply the pesticide with not that much protection, even if they say they only use the gloves in the end. And they research first how much pesticide the plants can get, and how much and what pesticide could be able to kill the plant or affect it. And they do it also in collaboration with companies, with agro companies who want to test these pesticides. So the public university is working for monoculture model for free. And they also study how the plants had transformed the phenomenologic level, how the plants changed their appearance over the last decades because of the pesticide fumigations. And now going to the point, what I found out because of them is like, okay, as I said, there are two species of amaranth growing in GM crop fields, Palmeri and Hybridus. Here you see them growing together. It was the only time I saw them really growing next to the other one. This is Palmeri and this is Hybridus. Hybridus is growing more than Palmeri. And what I learned from them is like one thing is about the seeds, the amount of seeds. In 1 hectare of soy, in 1 hectare, like 4,000 seeds of soybeans are planted. So in 1 hectare. Only one amaranth plant had already 3,000, or can have already 3,000. So even if they kill all of them, if one plant survives, there are going to be thousands of them in the next generation. And this is also what I process with the drawings, and this is why I show it in between. The change of appearance, what I have mentioned. Hybridus changed the shape of the panicles. Before it was soft to the touch, and now it's you get hard when you touch it. They are little nettles all yeah, in all the plant. And also the dormancy. Yeah, you don't see this because I have this. Well, sorry, so dormancy is like the plant can sleep on the soil. The seeds can sleep from the soil for a very long period of time, and they know when to awake and to start growing with the right conditions are there. And as you see here, this is not in soybean field, but this is in Berlin, in the street where I live. Like, I observed this myself by growing the plant, because like they will grow in the most strange places, as you see here, or they will wait until I start to watering to be able to start growing again. Yeah. But the key of everything, I want to move this. No. The key of everything is the genetic variability. And why? I already said that there are 2 species that are resistant, but from these 2, there are many biotypes. This means that one plant can be resistant to one poison in one place and not in another one. And this is what transgenic model is so lost, because they never know what to do. They need to keep trying, and trying. And the solution they still propose is the use of more agrotoxins. Glyphosate is used, like 300 million liters of glyphosate are used per year, and it's known that it's not effective. They just use it to clean the soil. And this is the consequence of a lot of environmental problems and health problems in the population, not only in the urban in the population close to monoculture field, but also in the cities. This genetic variability you can observe, for example, here in these images, where are different families or these different species of amaranth plants, crop and cultivated amaranths, but also in the same plants. For example, this is a soybean field, and you see the same amaranth variety. Here is palmeri, here also, but they have completely different colors. And these I also observe in the plants I'm growing myself. These are plants from the same plant. I collect the plant, plant it on the soil, and they grow completely different. And why this is so important? Because this aspect is also showing the genetic variability. It's a proof. It's a color performance that the plant develops. And I believe it's also this performative way of growing, of transforming its colors, is also a way of perform resistant in a colorful way. This is, again, the same example. And how they deal with the pesticides. So the plants are able to mutate the genetic code. This means the pesticide needs to enter to the plant. And there are pesticides like glyphosate that enter to one position. But when the plant changed the code, they cannot. The pesticide made the whole way to the plant, and when try to enter, it cannot. The code was changed by the plant. This is one way. The other one that I find quite amazing is the plant can deactivate the chemical components of the herbicide. So it changed. It is not an herbicide anymore. And another one, it's able to transport the pesticide to places that are not annoying for her, I will say, as a female body. And to finish, I would like to end with this advertising by Syngenta, where it says in Spanish, the party of amaranth is over, which I already showed you is really not true. Thanks.